DirecTV is a better way to watch whatever you want to watch. We all know the frustration and confusion that comes from endlessly scrolling, trying to find your favorite shows. DirecTV brings together your live TV and apps into one home screen, helping you avoid the hassle of plugging in passwords again and again or wasting time searching for what to watch across platforms. With DirecTV, you spend more time watching and less time searching for your show. Sign up for DirecTV today at directtv.com. It's time to play ball. My son has been working with his baseball team since the fall, and we are officially in baseball season. So if you're a mama like me and you got to stock up on all the sporting gear, now is the time. Academy Sports and Outdoors has the gear that you need, and you can bring it home for less. Gear up for baseball, softball, and t-ball with essentials from Easton, Rawlings, and Wilson at Academy. Academy offers free 1-hour in-store or curbside pickup if you're like me and you forgot to get the equipment in time. Swing by your local store or shopacademy.com today and get ready to hit it out of the park.
I did a pilot, The World's Best Dancing Dog.
No.
We're the worst pilot. I remember going to the first dinner with the team. I'm going to be focused. I want to really hit this out of the park. Do you, though? I said, what? And he goes, do you want to hit it out of the park? Or wouldn't it be nice if you just took the money for this pilot and this never went anywhere? Dog, look, we'll all do a good job, but let's not hit it out of the park. And I go, good point. And he goes, let's have a good time.
Yeah.
We're all getting a paycheck. Let's make the product and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Right. And I was like, fuck, are you serious?
Hey guys, it's Rach. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And I have a favor, which sounds kind of harsh if we just met, but I'm assuming that most of you have been a part of this community for a hot minute. And so I gotta ask, are you subscribed to the podcast? Subscribing to the podcast you listen to regularly is one of the best things that you can do for hosts like me. It helps to support the show and the staff that works on it. It ensures that you never miss an episode when we drop a new one. And here's the cool thing about subscribing. If you do it and then you hate this show, just unsubscribe. It's one click away. In the meantime, if you're listening, we would so appreciate it if you would just tap that button and make it official. Sometimes the best life advice comes wrapped in a punchline. In this very special Mastermind episode, we're serving up a Comedic Masterclass featuring some of the funniest comedians we've ever had on the show. My direction to producer Jack was, could we create an episode filled with great storytelling that would make y'all laugh? So today you're going to hear from Bert Kreischer, Nikki Glaser, Tiffany Haddish, and Fluffy, otherwise known as Gabriel Iglesias. From brutally honest relationship takes to embarrassing moments that turned into life lessons, this is your permission to laugh out loud, let go a little, and remember that humor and laughter is healing. If you're having a day or a week or a month, this episode is for you.
I'm just tired of thinking I'm in control of everything. For me, I think of it as much as like, it's as much my business as like my boyfriend's body is my business. Like I wish I could make him healthy and like get him to do the right stretches and whatever he needs. I just got to let go, and things aren't my fault. And I fuck up, and I have such a, it's so much easier to just go like, okay, you know what? My legs look a little chunky today. These pants are tight. I don't want them to be tight. This isn't my fault. Yes, I ate too much yesterday. Yes, I didn't work out. Yes, I could have gone to the gym when I didn't. But if I could have gone to the gym, I would have. I obviously couldn't. There was something in me that couldn't do it. So it's not my fault. It's not like I'm a lazy person. I used to like put so much on all my choices of like, you're a piece of shit. You're lazy. You're not as good as Gwyneth Paltrow or whoever I'm comparing myself. Like, there's so much more discipline than you. But it's like, Gwyneth Paltrow just got a more disciplined brain when she was born than me. Like, that's just, she also got different bone structure. Like, and anything really do feel like, wow, I have a hard time celebrating my accomplishments. It's not taking anything from me, but like when people are like, you work so hard or you're so funny, I'm just like, I was just born with a brain that's funny. I had enough like, I don't know, dysfunction as a child that amounted to, I didn't get to choose this. I'm happy that I have it. Like, for instance, I always get complimented on my legs. People are always like, you have amazing legs, which I hated my legs until like a year ago because they were always more muscular. My sister's legs were always like thin and like modelly, and mine were like kind of just more, they're long, but they're muscular. And I was just like, ugh. And I always covered them up. And then suddenly I embrace them and I love them now. And people, I show them a lot. So people compliment them. And I always go, people go, what is your workout? And I'm like, legit nothing. You know what? How I got these legs? My dad ejaculated in my mom in 1984, and I got his DNA, and I have my dad's legs. Like, that's all that happened. It's luck. I didn't do anything. And then I have my dad's legs to a T. Like, it's almost creepy how much. And he just has naturally muscular, kind of svelte legs. I lucked out. And so when I get jealous of other people now, I just kind of go, whether they did get it through, Pilates or whatever, and I go, I could do that. It just goes like, no, I couldn't. I wasn't born with a brain that likes Pilates or group workouts. So I just don't have, they just got lucky that they got that kind of brain or that kind of motivation within them. I don't need to beat myself up that I don't have that. I just feel like my body's not in my business is kind of under the same umbrella of like, let yourself off the hook. I think one thing that I got in when I was actively like going to program stuff and 12-step stuff, which I'm not as much anymore because I kind of, it's just my own journey. But one thing that I did get that you touched on in your emotional eating episode was that I struggle with pot use. Like, that's my one thing. I've given up alcohol. I have a fairly normal relationship with food based on my history, but I really struggle with weed. I go in and out of being like, never again. And then I'll start and I'll be like, I could just do it socially for this one thing. And then I'm like, no, I want to do it every day. And then it eventually leads to me being like, oh, I got to throw it all out. It just tilts my reality a little bit. It's fun. Like, I don't drink anymore. It's like a way to get out of my head. It calms, it gives me it gives me anxiety for sure. But it's like, I kind of thrive on anxiety as someone who does stand-up comedy. Like, I thrive on putting myself in situations that are kind of scary and then when I get through them, I'm like, yes. So like, I kind of like being high because it's like leveling up on your life where you're like, it's going to be harder to like function in that. I don't know. I just like it. But I always struggle with it because it becomes something I want to do all the time. For me, it always starts as like, oh, I've gone 6 months without it. You know what? I'm going to this concert. I really like want to enjoy this music on a different level. Like, I'll pop an edible. And then the edible, I'll be like, oh, this is taking too long. I really like inhaling smoke and feeling it right away. I'm not the type of pot smoker who like rolls a joint and is like delicate about it and takes their time and like puts on music and lights candles. Like, I want to hit a dirty pipe like on a sidewalk, crouched in a corner, like so blocking the wind, like a literal crackhead. Like, I just want it in me right away. And so it's not a good look. Like, it's something that I'm ashamed of because it's dirty. It smells. People are annoyed by it if they walk by. Like, it's not like a pleasant smell if you don't smoke pot. It's great if you're amongst, company, but I'm not really someone who has a lot of pothead friends. Like, it's kind of like I'm the only one. And it's just something I like to do before stand-up shows. Like, it's really weird, but like sometimes before I go on tour every weekend, I'm doing 1.5-hour performances and I just want to feel something different because I want to bring something different to it. And it just makes my mind go and take a little detour. And then I have a different kind of fun on stage than just if I'm kind of getting bored with my act. So then it'll be something I'm like, I'm going to do it before I go on stage. And then that goes great for a while because any pot smoker listening knows like pot can like make you have like the best performance of your life. Let's say if you're a musician or whatever, or just socially, you just have a great night. And then pot can also like, it's like a shishito pepper. Like 1 in 12 is going to like really fuck up your world and be like, I should not have done this. I couldn't function. I mean, it makes you a moron. There's no doubt about it that over time I get stupider and slower on pot. And so it always starts out fun. It's kind of like a diet. Like, you know how you can be energized by a diet at first and be like, I'm doing this. You see the results. And then it starts to go like, this sucks. I'm in pain. Like, I don't even like this food that I'm like, these fucking plain chicken breasts are depressing. This little cup of rice, whatever it is you're doing, like you're not even looking forward to it anymore. And then you overdo it or you stop. And then, for me, I always end up like, I would say twice a year, I quit pot entirely. But now what I've been doing is like, forgiving myself for needing a little hit of weed. Like, you know what? Like, I'm not trying to do this so I like, fund drug lords and because I want to disappoint my mom and have my boyfriend roll his eyes. Like, I'm not doing this to hurt anyone. I'm doing it because I obviously am struggling. And it's the only thing to soothe whatever is happening right now. And yes, there are better things to reach for: a journal, calling a friend, going to a meeting. But I want to just get a little
hot. God. Well, we all got to have a vice.
I know, but I have such guilt around it. And I think as soon as I just like don't beat myself up about it, the use gets less and less of like, because usually when I'm smoking pot for the first time after a long time of not doing it, I'm like, you failed. Like, it's almost like when you start to binge, you're like, do it as fast as I can so I don't.
Yes.
So it doesn't, the guilt doesn't catch up to me and I can taste it before the guilt hits. I feel like I'm always doing that. Yes. But instead now I'm just like, it's almost like letting yourself have the things you used to say no to. Like, I'm letting myself have pot because I need a little sugar right now. Like, I need it. And it might not be the best. It's like, refined sugar and polysaturated fats, whatever. But like, sometimes you just crave it because you had a long day and you want a little treat. And so if I treat it like that and I don't just beat myself up, because the thing that the story that I love, the anecdote, and then I'll stop this fucking monologue, that I loved that I got from a 12-step meeting once was that this woman said that she had a sugar addiction. So she did have like, she can't have sugar because it will derail her. And there's some people that literally have like no foods of like, it's like crack, it will ruin their life. But she had Oreos in her car and she was driving home and it was for her family. And she goes, I'm just going to have one, like we all do, right? Like, just going to have one. And then one led to two, and then by the time she was done at the stop, like ready to go from the stoplight, she had a whole row. And the stress the embarrassment, the shame that she had over having that whole row, why we overeat, why we reach for the pot, why we reach for booze is because we are uncomfortable and we're stressed out in our own skin. Now, this woman beating herself up about that row of Oreos has nothing in her car to soothe her through this anxiety about what a fuck up she is because she had 6 or whatever Oreos. The only thing she has is the Oreos. So what does she do? She eats the whole freaking bag. Whereas if she would have just been gentle with herself after that first row and said, you must have needed that, girl. That's not on your food plan, but clearly you are in pain right now. You're stressed out about this party or whatever it is. You needed that row. Good for you. Just have it. Let yourself go. She could have avoided eating the whole bag. So it's really about how we beat ourselves up more than it is like the things we're doing.
Absolutely.
I think. And that leads to overuse. And so if I'm gentle with myself about, you need a little hit of pot, maybe that will lead to me not having the whole joint and just having a little puff ski, like that is stuff, just that voice I talk to myself with. I'm just trying to be more gentle. Like last night I was trying to go to sleep and I was just like, shh, it's time to sleep. I would just start saying it to myself. And I was like, wait, this fucking works. I'm like treating myself like a little baby. Yep. And it feels ridiculous. And my boyfriend was already asleep, thank God, because he would have been like, what are you doing? But I want to be just nicer to myself because, but it's so hard because it kind of feels great to beat up on yourself a little bit, to cyberbully yourself and like zoom in on pictures of yourself and send them to your friends and be like, look I'm a monster. Tell me I'm not a monster. Wouldn't you get plastic surgery if you looked like this? Like, I can be the nicest to myself and I can be a literal middle school bully.
I think you guys know this, but in case you don't, my happy place is on the beach. Actually, that's not enough. My happy place is on the beach with an iced coffee in my hand. What a vibe. There are a lot of beaches out there, but there's only one people call the beach. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, is made up of 14 coastal communities and 60 miles of sunny beaches. Together, they create a place that makes you feel like you belong. Shine and dine in a foodie haven with oceanfront patios, fresh seafood, low country classics, and southern favorites. Plus, my favorite, you can listen to live music any day of the year, outside at laid-back beach bars, at world-renowned theaters, or right on the boardwalk. You belong at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Plan your trip to the beach at visitmyrtlebeach.com. Did you know over 65% of adults in the U.S. are magnesium deficient? That can lead to muscle cramps, brain fog, headaches, and insomnia. Symbiotica's magnesium L-threonate is the only form that crosses the blood-brain barrier, delivering nutrients straight to your brain for better memory, focus, and mood. Symbiotica's formulas are pure, no artificial additives or hidden ingredients. It's a difference you can feel. With thousands of 5-star reviews, people swear by it. Refresh your spring routine with 20% off plus free shipping at Symbiotica.com/rach. That's Symbiotica.com/RACH.
So many people are giving out so much negative energy, I feel like, at least with the internet. Like, it's not like how it used to be in the 1900s. If somebody was feeling some type of way about something you did, they had to write you a letter. They had to, like, tell you to your face.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you didn't know, right?
Yeah.
So, and you could, like, kind of operate in your joy. But now it's, like, so much hate given out. And your words are so powerful. You're cursing someone when you're talking negative.
Yeah.
When you're talking poorly about them. I feel like if I don't like somebody, I just don't talk about them at all.
Yep.
You know, or I tell them to their face, I don't like you. Or this is something you did, I'm not feeling that. Or whatever, right? Like, I'm brave enough to say it to your face. But most people are not, and they curse people all the time and they don't realize it. So I wanted to curse everyone with joy.
That's awesome.
So when you say it, even, it's like there's joy for you.
Right. So you're...
And if you say Tiffany Haddish, I curse you with joy. Now they cursing me with joy, and I need that. You know, make the bully laugh, bring them some joy. They're usually being a bully because they're not happy.
Yeah.
You know, and most people, I feel like a lot of people are not happy, at least from what I can read. I mean, some days I wish I was illiterate just so I didn't have to read all that crap. Like, dang, we're all old to be 15 again. But like, I see all this stuff that people say and I'm just like, wow, you know, there's a lot of hurt people out here.
Yeah.
Because it reads to me as like, and maybe it's just the way my brain works, but it reads to me like when they say negative things, like they're hurting and they're jealous.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like hate is where like jealousy and envy meet, you know, bam. And a little love there. It's a little love there. You can't hate something you know nothing about.
Right. Right. God, you're so right.
Thing had came through her fax machine for this comedy camp.
Wow.
And I had just won like this drama festival. I won first place in monologue in the drama festival. And I was getting in trouble a lot. Yeah, and I was getting in trouble for talking too much and being silly in class and being goofy. And I had these imaginary friends. They thought it was like, does she have a mental problem? I don't know. Like she's talking to things that aren't there. And you know, I was doing that on purpose to get attention and also to like make my classmates laugh and get them to help me with my homework. Well, not necessarily help me, but let me cheat off of their work. You know, like, it was like, yeah. I hang out and do jokes and, you know, I'll catch the bus there and catch the bus home. Like I was a professional bus rider. I didn't see it as an actual career until like I did end up in psychiatric therapy. I had like a nervous breakdown and the therapist was like, what makes you happy? What brings you joy?
How old were you at that point?
I was 21. Ugh. And I was like, oh, hearing people laugh makes me happy. Seeing people smile, that makes me feel so good. And she's like, well, why don't you do that as a hobby? Like, why don't you pick up comedy and just do it as a hobby? Go back to doing stand-up as a hobby. So I did like one open mic in this Vargas, his name is Vargas Mason, this comedian Vargas Mason came up to me and was like, you're funny. I'd love for you to do my show. We're doing a show at the Roosevelt. It's like an all-women show. You should come do it. And I was like, cool, I'll do it. And he's like, it pays $50 for 15 minutes. I was like, oh, I'm there. I'm there. And I bombed horribly.
Do you remember your jokes?
Yes, I do. They were horrible. I bombed so bad. I did like really good at the comedy club, but I bombed there. And I bombed there because it was like, I guess, I don't want to say it like that. Well, how do you say this? I'm just going to say it. It was a lesbian convention.
Okay.
It was like a lesbian party. You know, there's like out with their girlfriends. You know, it's like all the lesbians. And I bombed. Like, because all my jokes was like, you know, they was basically dick jokes. My boyfriend this, my boyfriend that. You know, me and my boyfriend when we do this. Me and my boyfriend, da-da-da-da-da. And they was...
Wrong crowd.
Boo! My dick bigger than your boyfriend's dick. Like, what? Wait, what? What's going on here? Like, what are you guys saying? Like, I didn't know my audience. I had to learn my audience. Need to know who's coming to the show. They booed me. But they heckled me really bad. I felt like a piece of meat up there. I felt very like, oh, this is worse than when men are gawking at you and saying things. Like it felt horrible because it's like, you guys look like me. Like it's like other women. When other women do, it's like even worse. Back then, anyways, I was 21, 22 years old. So like I was 22. Yeah, I had just turned 22. So it was like, it was weird. And I went backstage and I was just like, I felt horrible. I stayed up the whole time. No, I did the whole 15 minutes.
Good for you.
Because they asked me to do 15 minutes. I'm going to do my 15 minutes and I'm not a quitter.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's horrible. Oh, well, you're going to get a horrible 15 minutes. At least I ain't ugly. Like, because they show us, you pretty, you too pretty. Girl, you say, I'll take you out. I'll do this better than your boyfriend. I'll better than your boyfriend. I'm like, oh my God. The Vargas was like, great job. Here's your money. I was like, what? You're paying me? Like, oh, I'm doing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'm just got to figure out how to be better. I just got to figure out how to be better. And so like every time I get on stage, every time I perform, it's like, okay, this is an opportunity to be better than I was the last time. Better and better every day, better and better every day. My first movie, I felt like, okay, I got this. That movie sucked. They didn't even pay me. They didn't pay me my money. I still haven't been paid.
That's crazy.
They gave me, 25 DVDs or 20 DVDs and said, sell these. It was like, they were supposed to pay me $1,200. And I ended up being the lead in this movie because the actual lead got hit by a car. And she got hit by a bus, actually.
It's not. I should have laughed.
But it's true.
Yeah.
And that movie is horrible. Horrible. And I never got paid. And I think I was pretty good in it, though.
Okay.
I mean, but I was not.
You still have those DVDs?
I was not strong. I do have those DVDs.
You better could sell them now.
Because I couldn't see myself just slanging them.
Yeah.
Like, and even the case that they came in was horrible.
Oh, man.
Like, it's like it's not even a nice sleeve. Like, what is this? Like... Well, all my friends are like really proud of me when I was in Meet the Spartans. Mm-hmm. When I did Racing for Time, that was like a first like TV movie, kind of a big deal, and it was a big deal to me anyways. And that was a Lifetime movie, and
I love a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, and people recognized me from it, so I would say that was pretty good. But it was like I was hood famous, not worldwide, not like. I did a sketch, and this is during the time when there was a lot of inappropriate sketches. Comics were doing, this is the Funny or Die days. This is 2005s, 2010s. I think it was 2009. I did the Rihanna Gets Revenge sketch, and it got like over 1 million views. And
which for that time period was crazy.
Yeah. And I would go on the road, do shows, and everybody be like, do the Rihanna. And I didn't know what the Rihanna was. Like, like I didn't know what it was. Because it was like a 2-person sketch. And I would make like silly faces or whatever, sing some of her songs, and like people would go crazy. Ah, man, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I dated a dope dealer who invested in me to take acting classes. But even before that, I was doing extra work. I would do extra work. I did sound work, like boom operator stuff.
That's smart.
I did behind the scenes stuff, like any kind of little job I could get, like working on a music video, doing like coordination, whatever. anything that I could do that was entertainment wise, I was doing it.
So
But I
smart.
did a lot of extra work. Yeah, first thing I did, like to just because I wanted to learn, I would sit in the audience of TV shows and watch how sitcoms and TV shows worked. And they would pay us $25. And I remember I found that in the Yellow Pages. This is in the 1900s. Like, so during the summer,
Yeah.
I would like go sit in TV show audiences. Like on the days that I didn't have to do a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, I was doing that.
That's
Just going,
incredible that
I
was your
coordinated
job.
activities, I've hosted, MC'd, did all the stuff. Like, yeah, I even built the truss and all that stuff, helped put the lights up. I did anything that I decide to do, I try to learn as much about it as possible. I try to learn everybody's jobs because I want to have appreciation. I want to understand how hard they have to work to do their job. And also, like, I always envision myself like running something and owning something big. And how can I like expect anything? Like, I hate to ask people to do things that, I wouldn't do myself.
Mm-hmm. Listeners, NerdWallet wants you to let them do the work for you. Looking for auto insurance? The Nerds will match you with top providers in your area in just a few questions. So getting the right rate for you is as simple as going to nerdwallet.com. After all, letting NerdWallet do the work is more than smart. It's genius. Not all applicants will qualify for the lowest monthly payments. NerdWallet Insurance Services Incorporated. California resident license number OK92033. Guys, I did it. I got the Hydro Jug Traveler. It is the mug that everyone's talking about because it's completely leak-proof, cup holder compatible. That's the piece that I really wanted. I wanted it to go in my cup holder. And it has a hygienic circular flip straw that's easy for sipping. The Hydro Jug Traveler comes in multiple colors and sizes, 40, 32, and 22 ounces. I have it in 3 colors, so you can find the perfect bottle that matches your style. Go to hydrojug.com and use the code RACH to save 10% at checkout. That's code RACH at thehydrojug.com for 10% off at checkout.
I'm doing Rogan in a couple weeks to promote the movie.
Cool.
And there's a part of me that I wished, there was part of me that if he said, hey man, can we just do it in LA at my old house, in my old office, that bedroom I converted into an office? Because that was it's still a blast doing it. Like the last time I did it, I think we did like 5 hours. But like, it's still a blast doing it. But those early days were like, there was like the special thing.
Yeah.
And we all started doing that. And then we all started getting success in different sort of ways. Like, you'd watch, like, I think Tommy was the first one to really start doing theaters in like a big capacity. I was still on Travel Channel, so I was like straddling the fence. Like, I couldn't smoke weed on camera on Joe's podcast. They would turn the camera, because one time a network exec called. He's like, yo, man, you're fucking doing drugs on camera. And I was like, it's weed. And he's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's like, they were owned by Scripps, which was pretty much a faith-based company. And he's like, you cannot be smoking weed on camera. So when I would smoke weed, they'd turn the camera away from me and I'd smoke weed. And then, so it was, and I was a little bit careful of what I was saying at times. Like, you never know. I started doing stand-up. I started doing stand-up at 26.
Here in LA?
In New York.
Okay.
A place called the Boston Comedy Club. And in doing it, I got discovered very quickly by Will Smith, like 6 months into doing stand-up. I know. Yeah.
What?
I know.
This is crazy. I've never heard this.
I have the craziest luck. I have the craziest luck. And so I get discovered by Will Smith 6 months in. We sign a development deal. We sell it to Fox. I move out here for 7 months, live in the Universal Sheraton. Deal goes away. Kind of go, we'll figure out what we're doing. I move back to New York. I do a tour in Scotland, and in the middle of Scotland with a guy named Patrice O'Neill and Rich Voss. In the middle of Scotland, I get another offer to do a TV show and another development deal. I'd done a showcase, went well. And so I get a TV show, and so I start hosting. This is really inside baseball, but like when it comes to talent in this business, you have different muscles. Hosting is a definite muscle. Being able to read prompter, talk to camera, interview someone, move copy forward, and be like, "Great, that's awesome. Let's take a look at the next thing." So that you have cheesecake, and what beer did you pair that with? Like that muscle is a muscle.
Okay.
And so I learned that muscle very young. And so adversely, I don't know if that's the right word, adversely, I could get jobs and pay the bills by hosting bullshit pilots. So like I did a pilot, The World's Best Dancing Dog.
No.
Where we searched the world for the best dancing dog. It was the worst I remember going to the first dinner with the team, director, producer, writer, everyone. It was for Animal Planet. And they're like, I go, they go, "Want a beer?" This has happened a number of times. And I go, no, I don't want a beer. I'm going to be focused. I want to really hit this out of the park. And the guy goes, "Do you though?" I said, "What?" And he goes, "Do you want to hit it out of the park? Or wouldn't it be nice if you just took the money for this pilot and this never went anywhere?" I went, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Do you want to spend the next 8 years of your life looking for a dancing dog? Look, we'll all do a good job, but let's not hit it out of the park." And I went,
Good point.
I go, "Good point." And he goes, "Let's have a good time.
Yeah.
We're all getting a paycheck. Let's make the product and make sure it doesn't go anywhere." Right. And I was like, "Fuck, are you serious?" And so I did that I did maybe 25 pilots. So I had the TV show, I did a sitcom pilot, all that went away. And then I started making pilots. Some turned into TV shows, like the show Hurt Bert that I did, but most didn't. Some did. Some I did Fresh Baked video games. These shows that no one saw, but they pay good money. You make $130,000 for like 10 episodes, and you're like, "It's great." $5,000 was my fee. Then it was $10,000. And some pilots were awesome, never went anywhere. Some pilots were absolutely horrible, and you just were like, and then but I'm doing stand-up the whole time.
Okay.
And then I get an offer. What I was really good at was being absolutely terrified and hosting, but being scared and hurt. So like if you could fuck me up somehow, then it was like gold. Like I got mauled by a bull, viral clip. I was an MMA fighter. I want choked out by a Gracie. Like every time I got hurt, I was a professional football player. So then Travel Channel comes to me and they're like, "Yo, we want a guy to ride roller coasters for a living." I go, "Yeah, I'm not that guy." And they're like, "No, we think you'd be great." And so I end up doing it, and they see that I'm afraid of heights and I'm afraid of roller coasters. And so I'm like a child. I'm a big fat child on these roller coasters. And I'm like, "This is great." We do Birth the Conqueror, do like 2 seasons. It airs right after Man vs. Food. That's our lead-in. I mean, we have huge numbers. And then, the whole time I'm doing stand-up, and that right then is when I meet Rogan. I think that's 2012. I'm probably 36 years old. I'm guessing. I'm bad with numbers. And so I do Travel Channel for like 7 years. And then one night I come into the Comedy Store, and Bill Burr and Rogan are in the green room. And I'm like, "Hey, guys." And it's awkward. It's almost like they were talking about me. And I was like, "Hey, guys." And they're like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "What are you guys?" And then they just are like, Your TV show sucks." I go, "What?" And they're like, it's not you. Like you're not that guy. Like you should not be hosting shows. You should be focusing on your podcast and stand up." Now I've been doing stand up and I've been doing podcasts, but I've been phoning them in because I'm getting good money at Travel Channel.
Right.
And
at this point, are you married with kids?
Married with kids.
Right.
2 kids. I wish I knew. Years would be important in this, but I'm really bad at like figuring out when this was. I can actually tell you. It was 2017.
Okay.
It was 2017 because I had an outstanding offer from this great guy named Gary Garfinkel over at Showtime to shoot a special at Showtime. It's an outstanding offer. One of the coolest things that ever happened in my career. Coolest things. Real short story just to celebrate a man who's passed. Gary Garfinkel. I'll get emotional telling this, but it was really cool. So I go to Montreal to run my hour for all the network execs. It's really stressful. Small comedy club. I sell it out because Rogan's starting to build base. And I'm in the green room. I'm nervous. And Gary Garfinkel comes up with a glass of scotch. And he sits it down and he says, "Congratulations." I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "What a great fucking night." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You nervous?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, don't be." I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll buy your hour right now." He said, so know that I bought it and go out there and kill it and make it a bidding war. Oh my God. He's a great fucking guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I cry on every fucking goddamn podcast. Why the fuck do I cry so much? I think it's because I'm getting old. So,
no, it's because you're feeling it.
Yeah. He was a great guy. He passed. And so, and so they tell me you shouldn't be doing this show. You should focus on your podcast, focus on your stand-up. I shoot the Showtime special. No one fucking watches it. No one watches it because I take my shirt off. There's the one note that this very sweet lady at Showtime said, like, if you keep your shirt on, you don't give them reason to change the channel. And I was like, what do you mean?
Shit.
She goes, if you take your shirt off, like you're actually giving them a reason to go, I don't want to see that. And she goes, it's a real decision. It's a choice. And I went, yeah, but I haven't performed with my shirt on in like 8 years. I don't know what I'm uncomfortable with the shirt on. She's like, can we do one with your shirt on and one with your shirt off? And I was like, no, because you'll use one with my shirt on.
Absolutely.
And so I did it with my shirt off. No one watched it. It was the lowest rated special Showtime had ever aired. I misread my contract. I posted all the clips from my special, including the machine story. I post all of them on my Facebook. It's the lowest. People have heard me say this before, but I'll reiterate it because I think our concentric circles of our fans is probably very small.
Yes.
It's the lowest point of my life. My wife is redoing our house. I've been let go from Travel Channel. Travel Channel called and they said, we're not going to renew your contract. We don't have a space for you on this network. You say you want to be Anthony Bourdain. You are no Anthony Bourdain. We're moving on. I was supposed to do a Funny or Die tour. It was a big thing. It was called Oddball. I got pulled off for no reason at all. They were like, we'll save money. Take him off. And which was crushing because I'd canceled all my tour dates for the fall.
For that.
Yeah. My best friend Tom Segura is fat shaming me. It's going viral, right?
As a joke, or it's actually
it's a
hurting
joke.
your
It's a
feelings?
joke. It's
Okay.
a joke. But he was fatter than me at the time, so it was ironically funny.
Yes.
But it was a joke. But it starts going viral, and I mean everything is falling apart in my life. I had one club date at Helium, and the manager on the ride back from radio, as I'm looking at a convenience store and a guy in basketball shorts, a wife beater, and a cigarette with slides and socks on, smoke a cigarette, and I'm looking at him going, how nice is his life? Going like I bet he doesn't go to sleep worrying about work. He just wakes up going, I'll have a cigarette. Guy isn't worried about health. He isn't worried about anything.
I like that he did voices and characters, and that was what really drew me to what he did. And then I started mimicking Eddie Murphy, doing all these characters and voices and impressions and stuff. And next thing I know, I did a school talent show.
And how'd it go?
It went very well.
Oh, good.
It went very well. I was originally going to try to do like sketches with a friend, and then the friend at the last second backed out. And so they asked, well, you're by yourself. Is there something you can do by yourself? And I'm like, well, I do voices. Like, explain. And then I just started doing them, and they're like looking at me, and I'm like, is this going the way it's supposed to go? And they're like, are you available to come back? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. And so next thing I know, I was on the school talent show.
And how old were you then?
10.
Oh, still, this is all the same time.
This was during, yeah. So I did the school talent show 2 years in a row.
Okay.
It's funny because the second year when I showed up for auditions, they're like, you're in.
You're
don't
in.
even worry
Just
about
go.
it.
Yeah.
So once I was old enough to actually be in a club, I still wasn't allowed to be in a club because you can't just call yourself a comedian and go in. You have to be referred. Someone has to know you. Someone has to, it was a word of mouth type of thing.
Right.
So the first place I was actually able to perform was a bar in Montebello here in California.
Totally.
And it was very sketch. And I wasn't even old enough to be in there, but since they had a comedy night, they would let me come in the back door, go on stage, do my thing, and then as soon as I get off the stage, outside.
Right.
So that's how they would let me perform. April 10th, 1997 is the date.
To be specific.
Yeah. Well, that's when everything, first kicked off. I got a chance to put my name basically in a hat at a place, and then, I was able to go up, and it went very well. I was surprised. It was only like 3 minutes, but it was just me doing what I did as a kid in high school. You know, I was getting up in front of people and just doing impressions and characters. There was no real joke in there. It was just the fact that I could nail the voices that everybody was like, oh, that's cool. And so little by little, I just started making those voices do funny things.
Right.
And so in the beginning, I was very dirty. So I was all my cartoon characters. Everybody was having sex. It was very inappropriate, but it was funny.
Right.
And so I started building off of that. Because I've been doing this for over 25 years, I have to be reminded sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I do get jaded, and I do get complacent, and I do get into a place where it's like, it feels like work.
Right. Yes.
And at a certain point, you do have to take it serious, and you do have to apply a business sense to it. Because there's a lot of artists out there that are great artists, but they're shitty business people, and they have no idea how to manage their money. They have no idea how to get certain people in place to take care of certain things, because you can't do everything. I firmly believe you need a great team in order to get you to where you need to be. Otherwise, you're just going to be like, you hear all these horror stories of all these great comics from back in the day, and they all had financial issues.
Yep.
They were all, in trouble with the IRS. They were all getting garnished. There were, back taxes and jail time. And it's like, no, no,
like,
forget
I did
that
not
noise.
work
No,
this hard.
Yeah,
to
I did.
That. Yeah.
So I very much had to grow up and learn how to make it a business. I understand what it was to have a regular job. I understood what it was like to have to manage your bills. I understood what it was like to get in over your head, and live beyond your means and have to fall that way. And then, all right, let's pick up the pieces, and how do we manage this better? What do we do to not get ourselves back into that same situation? And it was one of those where when you see money starting to double, then you got to be careful, because then you got to be extra mindful. And then when you watch it double again, you got to like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
You can't just say, wee, because eventually someone's going to come knocking on your door.
Right.
And so there was that initial where, comedy started doing very well, and money came in at a rate where I was like not used to it.
Yeah.
And it was overwhelming. And of course I was young. And so I did go out and make my stupid purchases, had my fun. And then, when you're looking at a few audits, and Uncle Sam's like, yeah, you can't write off all that Jack in the Box. You really should start.
Those two
behaving
tacos
better.
for 99 cents are not part of your job.
So I was savvy to an extent until I got to a place where I did need help. And fortunately, there was people there that were, hey man, what are you doing with yourself? I kind of see what's going on here. Maybe you should talk to this person. Maybe you should talk to that person. And even though I feel like I was able to outgrow those situations and those relationships because the business was just growing so quickly, I did learn every single step of the way.
Yeah.
So everything was a lesson. My sister had taken me in and allowed me to chase this dream. Every day she'd just look at me and go, she'd go, get a real job.
Yeah. Come on.
But she'd see me on the phone. I'd be making phone calls. And again, you had to be very social. You had to maintain relationships. You couldn't do anything on a cell. There was no app back then. There was no, you couldn't go Google stuff. You had to do a set somewhere, have someone record it, have it put on a VHS tape, then find a location where they could duplicate those VHS tapes, and then research and find comedy clubs, mail those tapes to those clubs, and then call those clubs to make sure they receive the tape, follow up, and then see if the person, manager, booker saw it, was interested, and then, there were so many steps back then.
Yeah. You had to be your own
You had to be
management
your
team.
own everything. And so
Yeah.
it was a lot of time on the phone. And like I said, my sister was very patient with me because I ran up a lot of long distance. Like in the beginning, I had to make all my calls and do everything. And then I had management, and then the management had, it was their first time managing, but they had relationships in the business. And so certain things started happening. But again, you get to a place where it's plateaued and what's going on. And then there's frustration and what's going to happen. And then, sometimes you part ways and sometimes things get better. And in my case, we parted ways and then started going in different directions.
Yeah.
You take chances. I firmly believe you have to take chances and be willing to fail in order to get to where you want to get. So there was a few years of growing pains. And then, of course, money would come in, money would go out. And then learning, hey, all right, I got a little in over my head this year. I might want to start acting right or do this, that. So there was always constantly work, but there was also learning because there was, I'd take chances. I'd I put myself out there. I'm gonna buy these CDs because at the time CDs were the thing, and so like I'm gonna invest in a recording of myself, and I'm gonna invest in purchasing bulk units and storing them in a closet, and then take them on the road and sell them, and instead of parting with that money, I gotta save that money, reinvest it, create a new recording, or purchase more, or find something else to supplement whatever it was that I was doing.
Absolutely.
And so when I say, oh, you got to bet on yourself, that's what I mean. It's like, be willing to invest in yourself and sacrifice the fun, because you're going to want to have fun, because you're going to see how easy it is once the ball starts moving.
Right.
There was a time when I had 2 Hummers. About 2 freaking Hummers. Who the hell needs 2 Hummers? Who needs 1 Hummer?
You and Schwarzenegger. That was it.
I bought 2 Hummers, and I was living in a
2 Hummers.
And for the record, I didn't even have a house. I was living in an apartment, and I parked 2 freaking Hummers on the street. That's where my head was at.
That is,
where my head was
such a bro move.
It
is such a bro move.
I was 24, 25 years old.
And honestly, like a lot of 25-year-old boys.
So I don't get
that.
mad whenever I see, like, for example, these boxers that are, they come into millions, and then they're just buying stupid shit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we get it.
You're seeing it, and you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
I can't believe because then I see myself. I'm like, I can't believe I did that shit.
Yeah.
Well, they're taking a Hummer to a taco shop. Could have gotten robbed so many times. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh my
So
God.
it's like,
Yeah.
I'm lucky that nothing happened. There's no classes. Like, you mean you're not supposed to have 2 Hummers? I thought that was,
That's
I'm
the
learning.
dream.
I'm learning what
That's
to
the
buy, because
dream.
at the time I'm watching MTV, and they're still playing music videos on MTV, and so I'm watching all these rap videos,
Right.
and I'm like, that's
What's happening on Cribs.
I need shiny stuff
Yeah.
on the car. And like, oh my God. And so, one of the Hummers got stolen. They took anything shiny on it was taken away.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, I didn't claim it on my insurance. I didn't tell the insurance company, oh, by the way, I pimped it out. I was like, no, it's stock. It's stock. So once they stole the car, they're like, okay, your car is stock, and that's what we're going to give you money
$12.
for. And I'm like, ugh.
The Rachel Hollis podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble.
When living with cancer, it's important to be informed and know what to expect. But finding the right information can feel overwhelming. That's why UnderstandCancerTogether.com is here to help. We've gathered practical information and resources based on where you are in your cancer journey, so that you can focus on the important conversations and decisions of today. UnderstandCancerTogether.com, helping you navigate life with cancer, one moment at a time.
At Strayer University, we help students like you go from, will I, to why not? For over 130 years, we've been innovating higher education to make it more affordable, accessible, and attainable, so you can reach your goals. Go from thinking, can I, to yes, I can, and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.